I'm Dr. Alan Watkins. I'm the Chief Executive of Complete Coherence, a leadership consultancy that works around the world with CEOs and executive boards. Today I'm talking about an interesting paradox that's going on. We're living in accelerating change, but some things never seem to change. So I'm going to be unpacking that, and why is it when everything's changing, some things never change, and what do we do about it? Part of what we're seeing is these things that never seem to change are super complicated issues. In fact, they're called wicked. Not wicked in the sense of evil, but wicked in the sense of really difficult to solve. And one of the reasons they're really difficult to solve is we're taking a one-dimensional approach. We keep looking at what has to change in the system, in the process, and things out there. And we're not yet recognizing that in addition to the stuff out there are things that need to change in here. And there are things that need to change between you and I in our relationship. So we say actually there's three dimensions that we really need to lean into. The dimension of doing, or it, the it world, the objective rational world, the dimension of being, my interior, I, and the dimension of relating. So there's an I, there's a we, and there's an it. Those are three dimensions. And we have to solve these problems in all three dimensions, and we have to get better in all three dimensions. And so the fourth dimension is the sophistication that we have in the three dimensions. So if we don't recognize that our behavior is driven by what's going on the inside, it's very difficult to change behavior. As most managers will know, if you ask somebody to do it, sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't do it. So we have to understand that there's something going on inside of us that determines whether we do or don't do anything. And that's how we think, that's how we feel, that's our emotions, and ultimately our biology. So if we understand these internal dynamics, we can actually make a sustainable change in behavior. Having been around the world and interviewed over 500 CEOs globally in multiple markets, we discovered something very interesting, that most CEOs focus just on one dimension of their business, the commercial performance, largely because that's what they get hired for, that's what they get fired for. But we think the greatest leaders actually focus on things beyond just the day-to-day delivery of the quarterly performance. They focus on building out the future of their company, but those two, the short-term commercial performance and the long-term viability, are both in the objective world. But the best leaders don't just focus on those objective realities, they focus on themselves. Who is the human being that's turning up to do the work? And they also focus on the relationships they have with their customers and the relationships they have with their internal stakeholders. So they take a multi-dimensional approach. They recognize there's an I, there's a we, and there's an it. So the best leaders take a multi-dimensional approach, embracing I, we, and it. Changeboard have produced another fantastic conference this year, and I think what differentiates this year from previous years is really the diversity of speakers and a greater diversity within the audience itself, and that makes for a very rich debate, because it's only through the embracing of greater levels of diversity, particularly in terms of the perspective that people bring, that we can cultivate greater levels of wisdom. So it's been a joy to see the scale of the diversity in the speakers and the audience this year at Changeboard.